Ancient Indian philosophy did not begin as a monolith. The serene, unified image often projected today masks a history of intense intellectual friction. Between 500 BCE and the 8th century, India was a fiercely competitive intellectual battleground. Scholars spent centuries publicly arguing, formalizing logic, and writing dense commentaries to tear down their rivals' ideas about the nature of existence. The baseline for these early debates was the ancient Vedic tradition. For generations, religious life focused outward. It relied entirely on strict priestly authority and correctly choreographed sacrificial ceremonies, known as yāgya, to maintain the cosmic order. But eventually, thinkers began asking a different set of questions. Instead of asking how to properly perform a ritual sacrifice, they started asking, who is the one actually performing it? This pivot inward, the Upanishadic revolution, shifted the goal line from physical rituals to self-knowledge. At the exact same time, a massive existential threat to this Orthodox worldview emerged. Non-Vedic traditions like Buddhism and Jainism gained immense popularity. They flatly rejected the authority of the Vedas, dismissed animal sacrifice, and even attacked the core idea of a permanent human self. Facing highly organized intellectual rivals, Orthodox scholars realized that faith alone would not hold. To survive, they had to rigorously codify their own rules of logic and defend their worldview in public. The Great Debate had officially begun. The Orthodox thinkers, known as the Āstika schools, didn't respond by simply writing new scriptures. They essentially divided into highly specialized departments, with each school taking on a specific, massive problem about reality. First, they had to agree on the rules of engagement. The school of Nyāya stepped up to tackle epistemology, obsessing over a single question. How do we actually know a piece of information is true? This chart shows how their system filters every claim. Nyāya's standardized techniques demanded all information pass through valid means of knowledge, like perception, inference, and testimony. While Nyāya handled logic, Vaiśeṣika mapped the physical world, breaking existence down into fundamental categories: atoms, space, and time. Together, these two schools gave ancient India a standardized, objective language. By defining the rules of evidence and the physical building blocks of nature, they created the framework that made complex, high-level philosophical combat possible. With the physical world mapped out, the inquiry turned inward to the problem of human suffering. The Sāṃkhya school provided an answer through strict dualism. This diagram shows their view of reality cleanly splitting apart into two entirely disconnected forces: passive, pure consciousness, and changing material nature. To experience that division firsthand, the school of yoga provided the highly disciplined mental framework, the intense concentration and meditation required. On the opposite end of the spectrum were the strict traditionalists of the Mīmāṃsā school. They rejected these deeply internal meditative paths entirely, arguing instead that liberation only comes through rigid, flawless execution of external ritual duty and Vedic law. Yet, even with logic, physics, meditation, and ritual covered, one massive question remained. What is the exact relationship between the individual human self and the ultimate reality of the cosmos? That specific question led to the creation of the Vedanta school. By the 8th century, this intellectual landscape had reached a point of high-tension instability. While the schools were brilliant individually, they offered contradictory paths to the same goal, leaving seekers to choose between cold logic, rigid ritual, or absolute dualism. After centuries of debate, this is the exact saturated intellectual arena that a young philosopher named Adi Shankaracharya walked into. He didn't start by blindly attacking the other schools. Instead, he strategically adopted their best tools. He weaponized the strict debate logic of Nyāya to build his arguments, and he validated the mental discipline of yoga as necessary preparation for a wandering mind. But where he disagreed, he aggressively dismantled his opponents. He argued that Mīmāṃsā's endless rituals could never cure the root cause of human suffering, and he took direct aim at Sāṃkhya's strict division of reality, mathematically collapsing the idea that consciousness and matter are separate. His conclusion dismantled the concept of other. This is Advaita Vedanta, the radical assertion that the individual self, Atman, and ultimate reality, Brahman, are identical. Even then, he remained highly practical. He integrated the widespread practices of temple worship and devotion, acknowledging that while direct realization of this non-dual truth is the final goal, devout worship is a highly effective stepping stone to get a person ready for it. Shankaracharya did not speak his ideas into a void. He listened to centuries of intense, warring voices in the great debate, extracted the strongest, most rigorous elements from each one, and fused them into a single cohesive system of reality.